Yo, what's going on gamers? It's Ryan 6 days a week, and today we're going to be going over some of the major gear stat changes in Dark and Darker as of Wipe 3, which just happened yesterday. And well, there's actually a lot of increases across the board. As you can probably tell by the thumbnail, this isn't exactly going to be a guide video, so I won't go deep into detail on what each of the stats do. We're just going to go over the new maximums and what gear pieces they appear on. We'll start by looking at the most controversial change so far, which you probably already know about this, and that is the return of plus all. Prior to this update, the max you could get with plus all attributes was +1, and that was just appearing on necklaces. Now you can get plus all on your chest piece, leg piece, and rings for a total of +8 all attributes. So yes, a fairly major change, since with the addition of vigor and dexterity, this would equal an overall increase of +56 total attribute points, which of course affects classes differently. Next, we have an overall increase in single attribute stat rolls. Prior to this update, a single attribute roll could hit a max of +2. That is now changed to be a max of +3. This specific category of enchantments may be found on each armor piece, bringing the new maximum to +15 each stat. And yes, you can still roll more than one single attribute on the same piece of gear. So far we're looking at a pretty drastic increase in player attributes from enchantments across the board. Next, luck, which actually can now be rolled on any gear piece besides your hands and weapons. At this current time, you can actually get 220 luck, which is higher than an epic luck potion. Honestly, I think this is a pretty cool change since they intend to make legendary and unique gear quite rare, so teams will have to start building out specific luck sets to get those high tier items. Or, I guess, visit the trading post, which will be unlocked soon for the majority of players. Now, let's get into damage and resistances. In this update, there was an increase to magical and physical additional damage, and penetration. Plus true, plus weapon, and power were all left alone. Total maximum physical and magical power, however, has been reduced slightly, since it will no longer appear on jewelry. It now, however, has a higher roll for two-handed weapons. I do want to note here that the action speed and casting speed stats have also been increased. They aren't specifically damage stats, but I think they belong in this section. For resistances, we're seeing a 2 times increase across the board for all forms of magical and physical resistances, as well as a 2x increase in projectile damage resistance. I do want to point out here that additional damage is not affected by physical or magical power, so though the increase to both additional damage types may seem like a massive jump, I do think that the changes in resistances balance that out for the most part. It's still a big increase, don't get me wrong, but not quite as large as it may seem. Now for the rest of the stats, movement speed, healing, buff, debuff duration, mem cap, and health have all stayed the same. Well, there's a tiny increase to max health bonus, the percent health stat, but it's not enough to make that great of a difference. Let's be honest here, you're probably getting most of your health from the newly added plus all rolls and the higher capped vigor and strength rolls. Now, in my experience so far, these rolls have not really been much of an issue due to how many more items have been added to the game with dual stats. I actually find it easier than ever to gear up quickly and build high on your desired stats. I will say this, it is very clear that the power gap between a completely base gear player and an end gear player has grown drastically with these new maximums. But that being said, I do think that it's going to be easier to get to that mid to high gear level where you are wearing rares and epics with your desired stats. And I also feel like that power level from there, the mid to high gear, to endgame gear has actually become smaller. Now that plus all is no longer locked behind gold gear. Anyone can get it pretty quickly now. Alright gamers, if you want to see a full list of the changes to the rolled stats, take a look at the Dark and Darker wiki linked in the description below. And I hope you've been having a great start to your wipe. I'm looking forward to seeing how all these new items and stats play out over the course of the next few weeks as players begin to gain access to the trading post and crafting. I think right now it's a bit too early for me to have a hard opinion on any of these changes, quite yet. It's only been a day. If I missed anything here, or if you just want to tell me your thoughts on the state of the game so far, please do comment below or find me live on Twitch. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.